Unscripted. KSU. Quick, tactical conversations from the heart of the power sports industry. In this business, time is torque. So hit the ignition, twist the throttle, and let's fire it up.
Take 32.
Mark Sheffield.
Me again.
We're here in person, our first live podcast. We got some new shirts, got some swag.
Yeah, we upgraded.
We're here at AIM Expo in Anaheim, California. We have an interview. We have an awesome interview today, set up our first one of the day. Serge Tokman, CEO of Cycles Worldwide. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate the time. Excited to talk to you.
Guys, thanks for having me on, man. The fact that you have new shirts on, this is almost like Independence Day for me here. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. You want to introduce Serge, how you guys know each other and what he's doing, or do you want to let him do it, or what do you think?
No, I think Serge ought to introduce himself.
Okay.
He got a unique background.
Cool. Go ahead.
All right, I'll start this up a little bit. Been in the industry myself, going on 3 decades now. I had my own custom motorcycle shop, sales, service, repair, small business for about 23 years, and love this industry, man. And I just decided to, figure out a small niche to help dealers. So started working on Cycles Worldwide. That's kind of how we got here. So with Mark, our introduction to Mark was through LinkedIn. And then we had Mark on the podcast.
Yeah.
And got a chance to get to know him. I fell in love with the guy. And
He told me that in no way could we go past 60 minutes. And I think at 92 or 93 minutes, he's like, no, my hard drive's almost full.
We're used to that on this podcast. You just rambling and talking, but hey, it's all good stuff because you got a lot of knowledge and everyone wants to hear from you. So we got some questions for you, sir.
Shoot, man.
We're going to start
Let's
the
do it, guys.
pod clock. We have 30 minutes this time. Might be a little bit less, might be a little over. Doesn't matter.
let's
But
have some fun.
I'm going to start with my first question.
Hey, why don't you wait till it does that?
I was doing a dramatic pause, but when did you start Cycles Worldwide, and what is the core mission? That's what I want to know.
Cycles Worldwide was launched officially in 2023, January 2023. I started coming up with the idea back in around 2015, 2016. The core mission was basically this. At that point in time, what I noticed was, as a small business, advertising costs were so expensive for us. If you have an inventory of, let's say, 25, 30 motorcycles at the time, you got 3 or 4 mechanics working, salesperson or marketing person on floor. Anytime I was contacted by, let's say, like Cycle Trader or a company like that, hey man, put your inventory here, and they would give me the bill. I'm looking at my monthly expenses. I'm looking, how can I physically afford this? It just became very, very hard for me to be able to push my products unless I did it like through eBay, which still charged me, right?
Sure.
And then any other facet. At that time, Craigslist was pretty good source to list bikes.
Oh, you're going back.
It was free, right? That's how this shows you the gray right here, man, and the full set of hair that's gone. But so basically the core mission was for Cycles Worldwide for me is I just really wanted to create something for small businesses to be able to compete and survive on the same playing field as the larger 1% companies. Not that there's anything wrong. I mean, it's great that they have the large inventories and the multiple stores. I'm not against that, but
Sure.
the problem is just the smaller shops were getting squeezed out. So if you did a search, let's say for like a Street Glide or something, all the top dogs would come up, the little guys get lost. So the whole vision behind Cycles Worldwide was basically just to be able to put everybody on the even playing field,
Right.
Same platform. Don't charge them. Take that money, put it back into your dealerships, retain your best employees, get health benefits, whatever that cost is that's costing you every month, between $2,000 to $5,000, whatever it is. use it wisely, use our space, and let the best shop win. And
awesome.
that's kind of the whole direction behind it.
I love it.
Thanks,
Love
man.
I was in a 20 group. It's probably 3 years ago now, and talking about websites, and this dealer comes up and says, hey, I get signed up with this new website company, and here's all the stuff they're going to do, and I just switched from this other website company we don't like. And my first question, I was like, how much are you paying them to do all this? They're like $395 a month. And I was like, you are not paying nearly enough money. So, I mean, the reality is that it takes a lot of infrastructure to build really good systems, to have visibility in search, to be reliant. I mean, right now there's a lot of DDoS attacks that are going on with current website provider that's creating some issues for dealers. And, all of that stuff is not free to deal with. And, I know, owner of a dealership, we've got 600 plus vehicles in stock. You think about, what I used to spend $5,000 to $6,000 a month to syndicate my inventory out to a third party. Right. And, what do we get out of that? Yeah, I think we got some good leads and we got some good exposure out of that. But, at some point in time, then we had more companies that came in and were like, well, just think if you sold one more unit, we're only $1,000 a month. But how many of those? I mean, I'm not going to sign up with 100 of those companies, spend $100,000 a month, because I'm not going to make that back. At some point in time, they're fighting with each other. But how do you, in trying to offer your new service essentially for free to dealers, how are you going to be big and reliable and valuable to dealers and still be able to offer something that truly works for dealers?
Great question. I mean, and that's something of usually when we're talking to dealers and explaining the service to them, it's one of the questions that they ask. The way we have it set up is it's a pretty simple format, right? Anything classified to buy and sell is absolutely free to list. You would, whether you're using a CRM, DMS company, your own personal feeds, we just take an XML file of your inventory. It updates and scrapes every single day. So if you sell a unit, it's gone on our site also, right? That comes on. The way we are approaching this is basically to use the part, anything motorcycle, boats, anything power sports related, okay? Golf carts, ATVs, UTVs. You guys list everything for free. There's no problems. Same thing with parts, gear, and accessories. But what we do with the parts, gear, and accessories is we set up affiliate programs, okay? So for the small businesses, you don't have to pay us to list. You don't have to pay us to sell. But once that lead comes from us to them and somebody purchases a product, that's how kind of we work on it. But the whole vision behind this really is just to be able to get enough traffic on the website to start attracting digital banner advertisers. We have a service and directory page where it's basically all the businesses in the power sports world from every state, and eventually the vision is to grow this globally, to be able to list their business for $10 a month, right? And then we have a job board, list a job for $10 a month, resume board. Eventually we're going to get into more of dating for bikers, for boaters, for outdoors. Yeah, what we're trying to really, the whole vision is to just create one place to go. You can rent a motorcycle. Where we're set up with affiliate programs with like Rider Share, with Twisted Road, right? Where we so Eagle Riders. So we try in boat rental clubs. That's kind of, so our vision is really, we don't want anything from you. We want to prove to you that we can send you people, and if we send you people, then just we set it up on affiliate. You have affiliate links set up anyway. Right. So what difference does it make at this point in time? So that's kind of, we want to kind of get a little bit of from everywhere, but in regards to the classifieds and everything itself, is the way it works is you send us the feeds, a potential consumer is shopping through, they find the motorcycle, it's a Kawasaki's, let's say Z06, click on that. Because it says contact us, it redirects directly right back to the dealership. So any of the contacts. So we're more of a matchmaking service when it comes to that.
Are you finding at this point in time, are you starting to pick up some traction as far as traffic to the site?
It's been absolutely unbelievable because you helped us out a lot. You sent your inventory over to us. So we have gone from basically like 100 to 150 clicks a month to now we're approaching close to 5,000 on a weekly basis. Wow. So we're getting closer to the 20,000 range. And at this point in time, in all sincerity, since this all started, which was, we launched a marketplace when we launched in 2023, but we never put a lot of focus into it because we wanted to do it organically. The way we wanted to do it was basically start our podcast, get great people from the industry on, right? Tell your journey, man, and then have their people come in and follow us from that. So we didn't come out saying, hey, we're going to drop 100 grand here,
Yeah.
500 grand here. We didn't have that kind of we wanted to build it organically, do it the right way. And, would have been great to have $1 million to do it. Hell yeah, but, reality is reality. So
Sure.
we tried to do it this way and just kind of build it up. So once the first dealer set up, the second dealer seen it, and they said, what do we have to lose at this point in time? It's absolutely free, and if they're trying to build a one place for a targeted audience to go to, and I can get three to five leads a week out of that with no investment, well what's the loss? So that's kind of where we went with this thing.
So if someone, myself being relatively new to the motorcycle industry, I grew up riding dirt bikes and all the toys, but in the last few years, really immersing myself in the industry, where would someone like me start in your community? Let's say I want to rent a motorcycle or go through that. Where would I start in your...
Basically, you just go to the homepage, cyclesworldwide.com. You scroll down. We have a motorcycle rental link.
Yeah.
Click on that. It'll take you directly to you can pick which one you want to rent from. I know Eagle Riders is more of a tour company, so you can book a week tour anywhere in the country, 2-week tour. Where what's the rental company? It's Twisted Road and. God, I'm having a brain fart. Sorry, guys. But basically, you just click on that. It takes you to their website. You link it. It's an affiliate program set up, once again, like everything else that we do. And just rent a bike from there, and then you can take off. Do your thing from there.
That's awesome.
You're giving away something for free. What's been the hardest part about getting dealers to sign up for it?
I think that the hardest part has been the fact that I'll tell you exactly what the hardest part was, but which has been taken care of. The map side of it, right? So Harley Davidson has policies where, like, if you have listings, if they're on any kind of a platform that sells their products, and they're in a situation where there's bikes that have zero price, wrong pictures, all this stuff, when we first launched, it was exciting because we were getting all these feeds, right? So you're like, all right, cool, the site's building up, this is great, this is what I was looking for. And then as the more and more I've talked to the GMs and the owners of these companies on a one-on-one basis, those are the things that kept coming up. So what we did was, and I called you about that, and I said, hey man, this is what I'm finding. It was like, you should talk about, and you said, yeah, I have talked about it. It's a subject that these dealers sometimes just don't understand. And one of the things was, as Mark points out on a lot of his shows, is that he talks about the fact that, everything is bought. The first vision that anybody sees on you is usually online, right? So what you present online is what they think of you as a store. So if you're crap, they're not going to buy. They make that decision instantly. So what we did was we went back into all our feeds. At that time, we had probably about 8,000 to 10,000 feeds, classified listings, and kind of started going through them. And what I did was, instead of just taking all that stuff out, which I did, but first what I did is I called the dealers and just talked to them one-on-one. I think it's important that instead of just like destroying them, like, you guys suck, how can you sell it?
No, leave that up to me.
Right. So I called and I just chatted with them one-on-one, just said, hey, listen, look, this is what we're getting. Your competitor that sells the same exact bike is getting about 200 to 250 clicks per week to look at your motorcycle at the same bike. You're getting 1 or 2. So please, we're going to have to remove you because of that, because we're trying to really create a place where a shopper has a good experience. And so that's been the biggest challenge. Now that we have taken that step, cleaned it up, map certified, now that I think we just took on our 8th or 9th Harley store, and we have a lot more coming on after the first of the year. So that's been a real blessing for me, man, because I'm a Harley guy through and through. So it's good to see that on there.
So what's your mix between franchise stores and non-franchise stores, and what's the relationships between the two? Is it different, or?
You know what I've noticed is that more of the franchise stores, the larger dealerships, they all have some form of whether it's a CRM or a DMS company, right? So what happens is if once they take a look at the site, they like what they see, they want to work, they'll just say, Serge, listen, I'm going to reach out to Room 58 or Lightspeed or whoever, and we'll have them send us send them your XML feed. From the smaller stores, like 1 or 2 stores, those guys usually tend to do their own stuff. They have their own kind of like a little XML feed that they use, that it's basically scraping it off the website, giving it to us. So what I've noticed, obviously, is the more inventory, the better it is, because it's a little bit easier. We tend to do a little bit more work on the back end when we have like 1 or 2 stores and their files are a little bit messed up, the information's not correct. It doesn't, like, the way we did the coding was to be able to break it up by like year and date and make and used and new and golf cart and motorcycle. And a lot of times when we get these small stores, they tend to be like kind of hodgepodge. So they'll still list it on their coding as a bike, but it'll be a golf cart. So then it automatically files into our the motorcycle section, and we got to look and we're like, shit, it's a golf cart, you know. It's like we got to take that out. So those are the things that all experiences as we're going through. We're just a 2-man operation. My partner Ben does on the technical side, and I do the sales and marketing side of the business.
I'll go back to the last piece. You know, I don't have fresh data from, I mean, this is years ago, but Cycle Trader gave this to me back when they were Dominion, and maybe they are still Dominion. And, you know, one of the things they said, roughly I remember, is that a listing that had 4 more images back in the day got 7x clicks versus a listing that just had 1 factory image. And a listing that had a price got 11x clicks over something that said call for price. You know, when you look at the inventory feed that you're getting, why don't you just create a filter in there that just says that if something doesn't have 4 images or 3 images, that we're just not going to display it?
That's what we do now. We have that now. We set it up that it must have at least 5 images. 5 images or more. That's the ideal situation. But, you know, and it all goes back to the same thing. Like, the blessing has been is I've been on that side, you know, so I understand what the smaller dealerships go through. The bigger dealerships tend to invest a little bit more and they create a better website, you know, and that's cool. The smaller dealerships are the one I think that shoot themselves in the foot a lot of times, because they try, you know, you're taking pictures next to garbage cans and you're like, it's like, come on, man. It's like, you know, that's one thing I took a lot of pride in why I sold a lot of bikes, is because I would put the bike in a beautiful spot and I'd make sure there was 25 pictures and a video of it running. So, and 9 out of 10 of my bikes would leave the state of Florida. They'd all get shipped all over the country. So that was the benefit. But just going back to your question, that's what I had to do. I went back, and when I was talking to these dealers, I just said, please, man, I said, if you're going to do this, just really do this, because if you look at your competitor in the same area as you and click on his bike and see what his looks like, and then click on yours, and then you tell me who you'd buy from. And I'd really throw it back, because that's how I always based my business. It was like I'd look to see who's around my area, check out their website, see what they're selling, make sure that I was always better, man. It just, you know, like they say, I have this thing in my office that says competition is everywhere, just do it better.
That's right.
So
I actually had a dealer, large volume dealer, that I think did a really interesting A/B study, where they had duplicates of a lot of the same units. And they actually had a really nice photo booth. And so they would take a bunch of really nice photo booth photos, and then they would take those same units, good photos, but on the showroom floor in the lineup. And what they actually found, contrary to what you would think, is that the showroom photos that, again, good quality, but not staged, perform better.
Really?
Those listings perform better than the photo booth. And the only thing I can think is that the consumer looks at it and goes, yeah, they really got that bike. It's not just a stock photo.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I base my stuff more from a smaller dealer side, because that's all I've ever known and I've ever done. You've worked in the larger places, so you obviously understand the numbers and how it works better. This is stuff that I'm learning too now, because when you do this on an independent level, right, you're only thinking independent, right? You're thinking about yourself. You're making sure that your store's doing everything right. Now that I'm doing this on the whole level, trying to make every dealer better and give them an opportunity to be successful without them it costing anything, now I really start to study it a little bit more, and I'm seeing exactly what you just said. Like, the guys that are moving the units, they got showroom floor pictures. So that way it's truly showing them
We can believe what we want to believe, but as I say with the manufacturers, data is kryptonite against the manufacturers. They can come in with all their gerrymandered sales metrics, and you need to stock this, and here's what's selling across the country. But when we've got cold hard facts to give them, that's what wins those debates. And I think you're in a position where you've got 20,000 listings that are coming in. You can start generating some data that says, listings that have X number of photos, here's the percentage of clicks they're getting versus here's what these are doing.
That's exactly what the vision is. Our vision is for 2026 to be able to get at least between 75 to 100,000 classifieds, right? Wow. That's the goal. So once that approaches, then going forward, the back 6 of this year is when we're going to start doing the data, because right now we're still growing. We're only like 17 to 18,000, now we have, what's great is that now we have companies like Revit, SNS Cycle, they're coming on to our marketplace in regards to for the affiliate program to be able to. So it's great to build it out on that way too. But on the motorcycle side, I don't want to give false data yet. I just don't feel like 20,000 is yet enough.
Us dealers are used to getting bad data, so.
Okay. So that's
not from this guy. Everybody else, manufacturers.
That's funny.
Speaking of vision, in 10 years from now, we're going to have you back on the podcast.
Killer, man.
Mark will be walking in with his walker. He's going to be so old.
Hey, man, I'm the same age, bro.
You'll still be calling me daddy.
You're 54?
55.
Yeah, I turn 55 next week. So
You
we're
both
the
will be
same
walking in.
age.
It's all different. It's very, very different once you hit 55.
Maybe a two-seater.
Enjoy the 54s.
I got, what's today's date? Today is the 8th. I got 7 days, man.
Yeah,
Maybe a
enjoy it.
two-seater like
Scooter
or something. You guys can come in.
Anyway, we'll be racing, though. If we come in, we're coming in together. We're racing. Costanza style.
What do you envision in 10 years for Cycles Worldwide? What's the big picture?
The big picture truly is going to be, we're going to be that one-stop shop that every power sports consumer and store go to, whether it's to sell or to look for. We just want to be able to have a targeted audience. I am so freaking passionate about this industry. I love it, man. Yeah. I really do. I wake up and I just remember the days of pulling up to my office, and opening that door and then just taking the bikes out and putting them out front, man. It's the greatest feeling in the world. And man, financially, I wasn't rich by no means, but I was happy and for the most part until a couple of crashes here and there on the financial side. But, reality is the vision is just, I want to be able to have this industry succeed. I want every dealer in this country, not just this country, but the vision is to take it internationally too. I really, the more people get involved in this industry, the more people touch a ATV or 2 wheels or, whatever it is, man, that it's just an addiction, So this is my addiction, and I want every dealer to succeed. And I always want them to make sure that the money that they normally would waste on advertising will never be. So take that money, reinvest it into your employees. I think employee retention, why I think we suffer sometimes is because there's so much turnover, and these guys are, sometimes you come into a busy place, you don't have enough time to train these people. They come in with bad habits and they learn bad habits right out of the gate. So, and the problem is that your best person left somewhere else because somebody's giving them $5,000 more or salary or 10 grand more in salary. So use that money, keep your best people, put it back, keep your employee retention, and just come to us and advertise and never worry about spending any money, man.
Are you going to own a store again, you think, in your future?
A what?
Are you going to own another store, you think,
Hell
in your
no.
future?
No, man. Listen, I read this great book, and there was this great line in it, and he said, don't be the guy digging for the gold, be the guy selling the shovels. So I'm going to sell the shovels.
There you go.
And you guys dig for that gold. So that's the thing with this thing. So
it's great.
When I started this 30 years ago, it was the motorcycle industry, and now it's the power sports industry. And, the reality is that when you look at the industry as a whole, a big percentage of our profits are generated out of ATVs and UTVs. You got cycles in your name. So kind of long term, are you going to stay true to 2 wheels or?
Well, I mean, like you said, cycles used to be always 2 wheels, right? So you think cycles 2 wheels, but nowadays cycles is now considered power sports. So I don't want to be that guy that starts bringing on RVs and then cars. Like, no, man. Power sports and power sports only. I know that. And people have told me, like, why? Like, dude, there's so much more market. Because I don't love that stuff. I don't love cars. I love RVs, but, I don't love RVs enough to know about them and to do what I need to do. I want to stick to a certain community that I feel the most comfortable around. Somebody, like, that I can sit down and talk to and share a common conversation, I don't want to ever change, man. I just want to be able to be that place for the power sports industry. That's the long-term vision.
Does that include marine boats at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
We actually have this funny thing is we have a lot of boats coming onto our marketplace now. I think we have close to like 5,000 boats now. So more and more are coming in. And like I said, the whole reasoning behind this is to be able to give a dealer an extra set of eyes. And what I'm trying to build is to bring them all on. And then that way we can kind of say, okay, here you go,
I'm all out of questions.
Really?
Yeah, hit mine.
You're
long-winded. You got plenty of questions.
I got plenty more. So when you customers on your website and they see a vehicle that they like and they say, I want more information, how is that lead fed back to the dealer?
The way it works is basically it's, let's say, for example, somebody clicks on a bike that they like or a boat that they like, and they'll hit, they want more information, contact us, or call us or send us a message. Everything redirects back to the dealership. So we are, like I keep saying, it's a good word, but we're a matchmaking service, right? We basically give them the platform to bring in additional people that may not see them, and we redirect it back to them. So the things that you constantly both of you actually talk about a lot on the podcast is, the leads, the follow-ups. We can't control that. So we pray that you guys, dealers, are listening to these two guys here when they talk about this stuff.
They're not.
And especially Mark. Mark pounds this thing on almost every single conversation he has, and he does it for a reason because he has experience with them, and he's ran successful stores. He understands what it takes to lead, how to train, what's expected of the dealership. So, we want to see you guys all succeed. So please just listen. Just listen. Put the egos aside. We're in an ego-driven industry because it's mainly male-dominated, one. And two is, a lot of guys, I know it all, big I know it all. But no, none of us know it all, man. The more, I think, what would they say? When you stop learning, you start dying or something. What was that saying?
Right.
Right? So if you're not picking something up or learning something or listening to the guys like yourself talking about this stuff on a consistent basis, I think you guys are really doing a disservice to yourself personally. So,
20 years ago, we started building websites. Actually did my first one back in it was 96 or 97. I built my first website for Woods Fun Center up in Austin. And, they became a big focus. And then about 5 years ago, I think dealers kind of quit putting energy into their websites, and they've kind of fallen off, and it was all about AdWords, and that was how we got traffic. The reality is now with AI that our websites are actually gaining in importance again. And you need to have your content on your website so that ChatGPT and Gemini and all these other AI platforms, they understand and they know who you are, and they think that you're the authority on the products that you're selling. So, with all that AI is doing to change our industry, how are you going to ensure that a platform like yours stays relevant?
It's a good question, and that's something that we are deeply looking into at this point in time on how to approach this. Obviously, the more dealerships that come on board to us, the stronger eventually, even though the word SEO is kind of dying. Right. Resuscitate. I think it will resuscitate in an AI form, right? So our vision is this. We obviously have to make an investment as we start to grow and make a little bit of money into this thing, right? We're going to have to make a pretty major investment into that part of it. But a lot of it also is going to happen is that all these companies around the country that are coming onto the site, they've already paid a lot into the SEO, right? So over time, you've built up this dealership. Your name is kind of relevant. So if anybody searches for anything specific, whether it's a company, we're going to show up on that search because they're there, you know? So my gut feeling is we understand that we have to make a major investment, and we will. Right now, our vision is we have to build the site first, get the classifieds, get it organized, get it to be able to, like you said, give data, to understand and to give back to the dealers on a monthly basis. Say, hey, look, this is what we're getting. This is your, you know, just to show them what's happening. But in the meantime, constantly look to ways to improve it for stronger searchable results. That's the key. We want to be able to give it back. But obviously, we have a steak dinner appetite and a Happy Meal budget. So we're trying to do this the right way and the best way that we can. It's just going to take a little bit of time to grow this year. So, which we're seeing it. So, I mean, considering we went from 100 clicks per month to now close to 5,000 a week, that's pretty good, you know? So we're seeing at least we're trending in the right direction.
You said something earlier back at your store. You sold, I think you said 9 out of 10 bikes out of state. Is that right? You sent them?
Yep.
Are you guys tracking that on your current site of local buys versus out of state or non-local?
We don't because everything is redirected.
Sure.
You know, so what we try to do is we try to put it back into the dealers' hands.
Okay.
I mean, once you start getting involved in all that stuff, it becomes a little bit messy because then if somebody's angry at the dealer, they're going to be angry at us, and we don't want that. You know, we just want to be able to match make. Hey, listen, you find something that you like, you contact the person that sells it. We're just giving you an avenue to an extra avenue for the dealer to be seen somewhere else. And, you know, hopefully the dealer does the right things and they can track it themselves. But other than that, no.
Makes sense.
My attorney has given me a list of things I can talk about and can't talk about, so I'm not gonna drop any names. And I think a lot of dealers may not recognize or understand that there's a multitude of third parties that are hitting your website every day and scraping all the inventory, and then create these third-party websites that have all your inventory on there. And they're only doing that because they're selling the ads that are around the inventory.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, occasionally you'll get some of that traffic that comes back to you. And that's pretty easy to do. I mean, I can go and figure out what those feeds look like for inventory for probably more than half the companies in the country. You know, why are you going the tough road of reaching out to dealers and saying, you know, hey, do you want to be on our website? Why don't you just do what all these other companies have done and just figure out?
You got caught. Pod caught.
Yeah. Why don't you just do what these other companies have done and just start putting all that inventory on your website?
You know what it is? That's the easy way, and that's, I think, the society that we kind of live in, where everybody wants to get rich quick and you know, instant gratification and all that stuff. I come from the old school, man. I'm still a business minded personal relationship. So the reason we started the podcast was to introduce the people behind the product or the voice, right? So you come on, I want you to meet the person who does what they do. And I've lived my life like that. You know, I come from old school immigrant parents, so it was always like, your name, you know, you put my name in the mud, I'm going to kill you, you know. So I was always worried about, like, I don't like lying, I don't like cheating, I don't like any of that crap, because it always comes back and bites you. So, you know what? It might take longer organically, and that's okay. All right. So, I mean, if I got to work an extra job, I'll work an extra job. Whatever I have to do, I know.
It's not if you had to work an extra job, you do work an extra job.
I work 2 extra jobs while we're getting this thing off. We got no money coming in. So, but we will. So it's all right. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I just think, like, you know, my motto in life is, like, the truth shall set you free. And I believe in that. I live that. You know, I teach that to my son. I teach that my family's and I've seen the guys growing up in South Boston area. I've seen the guys who get rich quick, and where they end up, it never leads to a good path. It's a temporary high, you know, and that's all it is. So if I take the slow road at 55, man, I'm hoping I can, you know, get there before retirement. So, and I think we will. We're on the right path. We're getting great feedback from these guys, and that's the key. You know, when you get guys to call you and say, hey, Serge, thanks, man. Thanks for getting us on. It's awesome. I'm glad to see our inventory on your site. And now, you know, us trying to build the parts, gear, and accessory section, you know, and now you have companies like SNS saying, yeah, Serge, that looks good, man. You guys are doing a great job. We want to be with you. And Revit, we want to be with you. Let's put our store on. Yeah, of course. that just shows me that, the rabbit doesn't always win, so
Right.
so hopefully the turtle gets there quick.
I hope a ton of the young generation is listening to that. And if they got nothing else, it's from that. The truth will set you free. Doing things the right way. That's freaking
It's
awesome. I love
important,
that.
man.
It's-
Thanks,
I love
man.
that you're preaching that. Great.
The people who say that money is not everything, I've never been poor because I grew up poor. I grew up on the wrong side of the railroad
too,
tracks.
buddy.
There were many times where if it wasn't for welfare and food stamps and WIC, that we would not have had food on the table.
Got it.
My stepdad worked for a union, and I'm hardcore hate unions to this day because of that, because of all the corruption and the extra costs that those add into things. But, the other side of that, kind of building on what you said, is that, being super wealthy creates its own set of problems too. And, I've met some really great people in the industry who are incredibly wealthy, like,
Yeah.
8, 9 digits wealthy. And a few of those people are really, really happy, but it seems like a lot of them who are a step below that, the only thing that matters to them is making more money. And at some point in time, you really can't take it with you. So, how much money is too much? Last question I got for you on that. So let's say that what you're doing works out to be relatively successful. 3-4 years down the road, you got 500 dealers you're working with, and one of the big companies walks in and says, "Today, take it or leave it. Give you $5 million for the company." Do you sell?
Good question. Good question. Obviously, anytime you build a business, you want to have a way to be able to move out, meaning sell it where you can kind of finish up. I'm not 35, I'm not 25.
Really?
I'm not 25.
Oh, I thought you're 54. Sorry.
Yeah. So, there's an eventual end plan where I can kind of just chill and ride my motorcycle all day. But, you know what? If that's the situation, there would have to be a contract in place that if I do sell the company to anybody, if that decision is ever made and that company is sold, that my values that I created in this business for the dealers to always have a free place to advertise the inventory always stays true, so that they can never put an amount onto now the listing. Like say if Cycle Trader said, "Hey man, we'll give you 100 million in 5 years if we're good to buy this thing." I'm not saying I wouldn't sell the company, but the company would not be sold without those stipulations. So it's important to, money changes people, right? And you said it
Not
right,
in a good
man.
way.
Right. And you said it right, because I'm like you. I didn't grow up with a lot, man. My parents worked 24/7. They barely spoke English. And, I was a key latch baby hanging in the city, man, as a young kid. I didn't have, I didn't have those, like, when people say white privilege, I'm like, where, man? That cracks me up. Like, white privilege? Seriously, dude? You can't tell me I got
white
white
do you have to
privilege?
be?
Right. I'm like, I don't think you know my life yet, man. But, so, going back to that, it's just like value. This company was built on for a reason. I've thought about this since 2015, 2016 to do this. It just took me a little time to do it because I still had my shop and we were doing pretty good, so I never wanted to. But then I got to a point where I just burnt out. I was a little bit tired of having employees who didn't want to be better. And I'm a go-getter. Like I just want to do the right thing all the time, every day. I come in high. Like I'm high in regards to not drugs high, but just high because I love this shit. I really do. I'm passionate about it. And when you come in at the end and, these guys are just coming in to punch the clock in and punch the clock out, it just started to eat me, and I got to a point where I wasn't sleeping and I'm like, you know what? It's time. It's time to chase this now and let's build this thing. So I just started putting this thing together, started reading a bunch of books just to get inspired a little bit,
What's your favorite book?
What's give me a second. It's DeMarco. I'll tell you right now. I apologize. I'm having brain farts, man. I've been talking all day for the last 2 days with all these companies, and I'm just
What's the most important talk you've done in the last couple of days?
It's been mainly really talking to small businesses and trying to let them know that, hey, listen, if you sell B2C, list with us, man. Just put your stuff out there. What do you got to lose, And so it's been great to see a lot of the smaller businesses going like, wow, that's awesome, man. Thanks. Yeah, for sure, man. After we get back, we'll talk to you next week. We'll get everything set up. We'll get you. So it's been more of those conversations, just because I've been in their shoes. I'm in their shoes.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not like selling them anything. I'm not going like, oh yeah, no, well, little this money here, money there. Just come on with us, man. Let us build, help us grow, and eventually we'll be the place, and you'll be part of that. So that's really
fantastic.
my sales pitch.
We're going to start a KSU book club, so we'll put his book will be the.
All right, yeah. Hold on. I'll tell you right now.
You save it. We're going to put it in the comments.
Okay.
So if you want more, you're going to have to come back and actually read the comments on the post. So
Okay, that sounds good.
I can't thank you enough, Serge. This conversation's been awesome. Our first in-person interview.
Yeah, thanks for being numero uno, man.
We
This is a real privilege.
I can feel. I'm sure you can't do your passion for the industry. You want to make it better. I love that. I love your whole mission, everything
man.
about this. I've loved reading about it, and so connect with Serge. Hit him up. Listen bikes.
Guys,
help him grow
just
this thing.
list your stuff. Call us if you have any questions. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain. Eventually, we will be the place to go, and you guys will be a part of that ride.
Appreciate it.
What's your email address?
Email is Sergey@cyclesworldwide.com, SERGEY@cyclesworldwide.com, and the website is cyclesworldwide.com. You can reach out to us from there too.
Any closing words of wisdom?
And just stay strong, guys. You know, don't put the ego aside, man. You know, ask questions, get answers. We don't know it all, you know, and the more you learn every day, the better your dealership will be. And also, one last thing I'd like to say is take the time and invest in training in your salespeople.
Amen.
Because they are the faces of your industry, of your shop. And if these guys can't tell the difference between a 600 and a 1000 motor and be able to describe for a person what this bike can do, that's on you.
You got bigger issues.
That's on you. It's 100% on you. And that
great.
person walks away and goes to somebody knowledgeable and buys their bike. Right?
Thank you again. Appreciate the time. Look forward to following your journey.
Thanks, boys. I appreciate you guys. You guys are unbelievable, man. Love what you guys do. Thank you very much, guys.
Appreciate you riding with us on Raw and Unscripted. KSU. We'll be back next week with more ways to rev up your dealership success. Until next time, keep the throttle wide open. Wide open.